Hello, my name is Gary Appleton and I'm the CEO of Flying Colours. With me today is George Agan. He's one of our chartered financial planners. What we're talking to you about today is the value of financial planning and how it can help you achieve your goals and dreams through it. George, welcome. I think it'd be really good to start by you explaining to the viewers in terms of why Flying Colours is different from other firms they might engage with.
Sure, yeah. So we're a financial planning focused firm. And just to mention what a financial plan is, it's basically the tool to make sure that all the money elements of your life are actually fully aligned to the life that you want to lead. So what we're going to do is we're going to act with you as a strategic thinking partner in a really strong consultative way to make sure that all those pieces of your life line up. We're also fully independent and whole of market. That means that after the plan, if it is appropriate to put in place any financial products like pensions or investments, our loyalty is only to you in the product selection. We're also embracing technology. So we want to do everything we can to deliver as much value to our clients as quickly and efficiently as possible. We also have a younger cohort than quite a lot of other financial planning firms. And the reason why that's so useful is it means that you can have the best chance of having a long-term relationship with your advisor over the upcoming years and hopefully decades.
Thank you, George. That's good. Many people we come across initially are looking to invest themselves and, not using a professional to help them. In your experience, what are the common mistakes that people can actually make, which means they're not going to achieve their financial goals?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I just want to acknowledge that some people can manage their own finances, but the people who we serve best either don't have the time, the expertise, or the inclination to want to try and do everything themselves. They've got to a position in their life where even small tax or planning mistakes could end up being quite expensive. And let's be honest, it's a really complex area. The tax code itself in the UK is longer than the complete works of Shakespeare. They say no one human ever understands the whole thing. So if I'm being completely honest, the biggest mistake that I see from people before they engage in financial planning is often inertia. It's quite difficult often to get in touch with all the various pension providers that many people have accumulated through their life. And that can lead to just perhaps inconsistencies as far as maybe investment approach or maybe savings amount. And all these things can really add up and end up costing you. Unfortunately, nobody taps you on the shoulder and says, look, if you'd made that decision, you'd be in a much better position. And planning is about making those right decisions now when we can actually do something about it.
That's quite frightening, actually. So I remember reading Shakespeare when I was at school and how complex and long it was and how many books there were. So somebody facing that's really hard. If somebody's still sitting on the fence and thinking, is this really for me? What would you genuinely say to that person to sort of make them, or not make them, get them to change their mind?
Yeah, I think I'd say that everything that they get up in the morning for, everything that they work really hard to achieve, it's all based on an assumption that ultimately, financially, this is aligned to the life that I want. And there's some big questions that are underneath that. Am I saving enough? Do I have enough for retirement? When do I hit financial independence? If something happens to me, is the family and the kids going to be okay? Financial planning is about giving you clarity in those key areas so that you and everything that you've worked hard to achieve give you the life that you deserve.
George, that's really interesting. I think people might also think about financial planning could be overwhelming in terms of the process and what they've got to go through. Can you explain what a typical client journey would look like if they become a client of Flying Colours?
Yeah, of course. And there is a lot to go through, but we're going to be here with you every step of the way to walk you through the process and make it easier. And certainly at the start, all the first thing is just an introductory chat. It's without charge and obligation. So there really isn't much risk or danger in taking that initial chat. So the initial chat, we'll have a strategy session with you. We'll talk about what you want to achieve, and even just at a high level, the areas that we think might be able to add a lot of value as far as financial planning actions. From there, you'll get a very clear overview of the costs associated with working with us. And assuming you want to go further, we'll then get into the full financial planning process. So just talk about what that looks like. You've got then our discovery meeting. That's where we talk about all the different areas of your financial picture, whether that's the pensions you've accumulated across your life, whether that's your different investments, really talking and putting everything together so that we have a full clarity on all those different financial elements. Once we've understood that and we know the ideal life you're wanting to build, we then need to inevitably go out for information from your providers. So I mentioned that a lot of people have accumulated pensions throughout their life. We're going to remove as much of the burden as we can. We're going to get what's called letters of authority, go out to these providers, ask questions you might not have thought to ask in relation so we can get the big picture, and then continue to chase them till it lands. Once we have that, we understand what you want to achieve, what your financial picture looks like. We'll then build that using our financial planning software. So this is where we'll look at different scenarios. We'll look at seeing how if we can save you tax by taking certain routes. That's where the really interesting strategic stuff comes in, which is obviously what kind of gives me a kick as a financial planner. Anyway, once we've done all that and we've checked all the bits, then it's presentation. So we're going to put it all together to you in a very clear report where we outline, no jargon, simple terms. This is what you need to do to achieve the life that you want to achieve. And from there, the most important step, I think, is taking action. It's implementation, because the plan is great, but unless you take action, it's not worth the paper it's written on, let's be honest. So your advisor will work with you to make sure that you actually start taking the right steps. And once we've done all that initial planning bit, we now have a really great financial plan which is aligned to your goals. I think the most important process after that is then the review process, because it's a planning process where the value is added, not just a static plan. We know things are going to change. We know your situation is going to change, whether that's at your own work or whether that's your goals. It's very normal for me when I'm dealing with clients for them to, once they know when they hit financial independence, the goals of retirement change. And having a financial plan is making sure that we iterate when your situation changes, when the government rules changes, and ultimately everything that's promised, as in the life you want to lead, gets delivered in reality.
Okay, so it's very much delivered with transparency and clarity, and we're holding the person's hand throughout the process. Obviously, what people look for today, particularly, is value. How do you demonstrate value to your clients? And particularly, how do you demonstrate the additional value that you can deliver as opposed to somebody just investing in the markets?
It's a great question. And here at Flying Colours, we have something that I think is genuinely quite unique. It's called the personal value statement. So let me just explain why we brought this on board and why I think it's so valuable. The elephant in the room with financial planning, in my view, is I'd like to think anyone that speaks with me or the other advisors here at Flying Colours, they can probably see that this is going to be valuable. But unless you go through those steps, unless you take those steps to get advice, it's experiential. You don't know till you've gone through it. So what our personal value statement is our commitment. We want to be on the front foot and say, look, we believe that this advice is going to be valuable. So what we're going to do is when we deliver the presentation details, we're going to provide you this personal value statement. What this personal value statement will do is it will itemize the different areas that we've looked at and we believe we've added value through. So firstly, we'll look at the more mechanical bits. So we'll look at the value of financial planning, whether that's tax savings, whether that's looking at your investment setups, whether that's making sure on a timing basis you're drawing down the assets in the right way. It's all the strategic stuff that we believe we've added value through. We'll then look at other things like cost savings and timing. And we'll then give you a figure, a percentage figure using our financial planning software on how much value we've added through those bits. We'll also convert it to an estimate in monetary value. But the thing that's so powerful in relation to this statement is that if you speak with our clients, whether that's the conversations I have with my clients or our client survey, they actually say that the thing that is really valuable is none of that stuff. It's having someone who they know knows what they're doing. It's the competence, knowing that they have that peace of mind that's been looked at by a professional who's on their side. It's also the convenience, having someone that's going to be able to help them go through the process so that they don't have to do it themselves and live in spreadsheets. It's also the continuity element as well. So it's not just about one person in a lot of situations, it's also about the family. So if something happens to me, is my family going to be looked after as well? They're the things that really add a lot of value to clients.
Thank you, George. If you're now ready to start your financial planning journey with Flying Colours Advice, go to the Flying Colours Advice website to book your free introductory meeting.